Hi, this is John from Mixedstreets.com. Today we're talking about brush or comb. Which one is better for your hair? Which one is better to detangle hair, curly hair to be more specific? Some people call it textured hair. But people ask us this question sometimes, what's better to use? Which one should I have at home? Do I have to have both of them? If I'm on a budget, can I have one or the other? What type of brush should I use, or what type of comb should I use, especially for detangling their little one's hair? Now, it's really, the right answer is really either of them will do, but you have to know how to use it. The brush has specific, also is better at certain things, and the comb is better at certain things, but both of them cross over on detangling, and both of them can be used to do that. So I'll talk a little bit about it. The brush generally is used to brush something in or out of your hair very quickly, to be able to cover. It has a wider coverage, especially if you use the wide-faced brush like this one I'm holding. It will cover your hair very quickly, your child's hair very quickly. When you brush from the base to the tip, it's very good at actually bringing out or spreading the sebum, which is natural oils of your hair. Or if you put a moisturizer or conditioner, it's very good to brush it out. When I say out, I mean brush it from the base to the tip and cover your hair evenly very quickly. Another thing is good for, if you think about your hair and the cuticles, it's like that, like a fish scale. So it's really sort of like that, more or less. So it's very easy. It's very good. Brushes are very good to brush over it. So to actually, because sometimes they're open, especially when it's wet or when you've sort of, after finished bathing or washing your hair, it opens up. So the brush is very good to bring it all down, and it creates shine sometimes when you use that. That's why some people use the brush or brush their hair every morning. But it's a little bit trickier when you use when you're doing it on curly hair. Another thing brush is used for is to get things like dandruff out, or get dirt out, or things or debris that's falling on your hair for some reason, running around, your kids run around all day. With that, it's very good to clear it out or to sort of brush it out. Now, the comb, on the other hand, is very useful for parting. It's normally used to part hair, to style hair, and sort of to group hair easily. It's much better for that. The brush cannot really do that so well. So on the question whether to use a brush or a comb to detangle curly hair, like we said before, the answer is either one will do, but you have to follow the rules. I'll start with the brush. There are two rules really for the brush that you have to follow on detangling curly hair. Rule number one is, do not detangle hair that is dry. Don't try to do that, because it will cause breakage and it's very painful for your child or you when you try to do that. Do it when it's wet. When it's wet, your hair is softer, because it gathered more water. Curly hair is normally softer when it's wet. It's more malleable, it's easy to move around, even though it's more tender when it's wet. So you still have to be careful when you're brushing it through. So brush it when it's wet, and start from the tip and work your way to the end, bit by bit. Create sections and work through it. There are many videos on YouTube that could show you how to do that. Brush it that way, start from the end, work your way to the root, and do it when it's wet. Now, rule number two, when you want to use a powder brush, is you have to use the right type of brush. There are three main types of brush, or bristles on the brush. One of them is the boa brush, so it's made from boa hair. It's softer, people swear by it, that is very good. The second one is the nylon one. And the third is kind of a mixture, so people mix the nylon and the boa hair together in the brush. When I say nylon, it's like an umbrella term, because it could be wood, it could be plastic like this, like the powder brush, but generally anything synthetic I put under the nylon part. And then the third one, of course, is the mixed one. Most curly hair will be okay with a nylon brush, but you have to be careful with nylon use. You have to, the thinner the hair is, the closer the brush you could use on it. So when I say closer, I mean the spacing between the bristles. The closer they are together, the more you could get away with it on thin hair. But when your hair is not thin, when it is actually very thick, then you have to use one that is wider and a little bit, when I say tougher, like this one is not tough, but it has wide gaps between it. This is quite good for working through tough hair. So it depends on your child's hair. You'll then generally find out when you use it what comes out of it. When you finish, I look at it, I see lots of hair on the brush, it's not good. That's a good thing about using brush, it gives you very quick feedback. So those are the 2 rules of using the brush. Now, for the comb, now it's very good for detangling. Rule number 1, do not use comb that has seams on it. A seamless comb like this one is very good. So when I say seams, I mean when you look at the ends here, you could normally will see the line that goes through it for the seamed comb. The seamless comb will not have it. The reason I say that is that the seams will snag on your hair or your child's hair and rip it and pull through it. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is when using this comb, try to use a wide tooth comb first. Normally 3 combs is what some people recommend. Use a wide one, you work through it, and then use a smaller one with closer teeth and work through it, and then finally use a fine tooth comb and work through it. And that's how you kind of go through the detangling using the comb. So you could have both. You could have a brush or a comb, and it's good. You just have to know how to use it to work your magic. But you could have both also. You could have both and use them together. So you could use the comb and do the detangling well and use the brush and then walk through it. By the time you get to the fine tooth part of the comb, you could just walk through it with the brush and it's fantastic. Or you could brush your hair after that or doing the detangling and so on. Then you use the comb to style it, to actually group it together and do the tying. So you could use both, that could work well together. So what do we use on our kids? We use the brush at the moment, the one I was holding, this one, which is the powder brush, and we're moving to the comb a little bit more now because we are finding it a little easier to use the comb to do the detangling than the brush because it takes a little bit more time to work through it. However, we've always used the brush and this type exactly for a long time, and now we're moving to using this kind of comb for my son's hair, which is a little bit tougher. So I hope you liked the video. Thank you very much for watching.